Hello everyone, thanks for checking out this quick guide video. Today I want to show you a quick and easy way to start using Azure Mobile Services in your Unity project. So the reason that I tend to use Azure Mobile Services in my projects is to store a lot of different game data. This could be things like, world data, high score tables, player inventory, player data, whatever it might be, whatever you can basically store in some sort of database, you can use Azure Mobile Services to do that. And the cool thing is it's completely cross-platform, so if you wanted to have world data shared across iOS and Android and Windows Phone, or have the ability for all those people to compete against each other on the same high score table, Azure Mobile Services allows you to do that. So it's a very, very handy tool, and it's a great way to start getting your game data up into the cloud. So yeah, I guess we'll get started here. The first thing you're gonna need, obviously, is a Azure account. Now, right now there's a free trial going on where you can get a 1-month trial, which gives you $220 worth of credits to spend on, pretty much all the Azure services, including virtual machines, SQL databases, websites, and of course Azure Mobile Services. So if you don't have an account, you can go ahead and sign up for that by clicking if you're at the home page there, clicking on a free trial up here on the top, or try it now here if you're actually on this page. So once you've already got your Azure account all set up and everything, the next thing that we want to do is we want to go into the portal. So if I just click portal up here at the top, this is going to open up my personal Azure portal. So to get started, we need to create a mobile service that we can use for our game data. So I'm going to go down here at the bottom and click New. And I'm going to click Compute. And then I'm going to scroll down and select Mobile Service. And finally click Create. So it's going to ask me for a URL. This is something that has to be unique, but it can be pretty much anything you want. So yeah, now I'll have the URL videotest.azure-mobile or azure-mobile.net as my actual mobile services URL. So then the next thing we need to do is create a database. So I'm going to select a free 20 megabyte SQL database. Oh, I've already got an existing one. So if that happens, you can just select to create a new SQL database if you don't already have one created. Obviously, I've done something in the past where I've actually used that one already. You can just use this where you create a new SQL database instance. Select the region. You should select the one that's closest to you. For me, that would be East US. Backend, I'm going to leave as JavaScript. And then I'm going to click the little arrow here for next. Now it's just basically going to ask me to set up my database. I'm going to select a new SQL database, give it a login info. Okay, so once you got your password in there, again, select the region that's closest to you. I'm going to select East US because I had that as my other one, and then just click the complete button, and that's going to go ahead and actually create the mobile service for you. So after a few moments, you'll notice up here it's actually saying creating, and after a few moments it'll go ahead and say ready, and we'll be able to continue on. Okay, so we'll click on it, and that'll actually open it up, and you'll notice right off the bat here that on the home screen that there's a list of platforms available for Windows, iOS, Android, HTML5, JavaScript, Xamarin, and PhoneGap. And what these do, they have like a quick little guide here that allows you to basically go through, and it kind of shows you how to set up each one of those for a starter program for each one of those platforms. So for here, this is the Windows one, and of course if you click on iOS, it shows you the steps on creating a new iOS app, as well as connecting to an existing app for all the different platforms. So if you wanted to connect to an existing Android app, it's got all the steps. So depending on what platform you're working with, you can work on that. But for our case, we're just going to use the Windows platform, and we're going to scroll down here to create a new Windows or Windows Phone app. I'm going to select that. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to create a new to-do item table. And this is just going to initialize the table with some data for us, just for the purposes of this demo. Alright, so once that's done, they'll have a little check mark and it'll say this created the table of data for us. The next thing to note is if you click on the connect to an existing Windows phone or phone app, this is a quick way to get the data that you need, the URL for our connection, as well as the secret key that we're going to need to use to actually connect. So if you want, either mark these down or just remember, we'll come back to this shortly when we connect our Unity plugin. Okay, so yeah, that brings us to the plugin side of things. So in order to get things to work with Unity, what we're going to do is we're going to use a plugin from Prime31 that allows us to connect to Azure and mobile services and everything. It does all the heavy lifting for us, so we don't have to create all that for us. So if you go to prime31.com and you scroll over here and select Windows Phone or Windows 8 Store, sorry, and scroll down, you'll notice towards the bottom there's Microsoft Azure plugin. This is the one that we're going to use to actually connect. So right now it's completely free until July 2015. So you can click on download now, and what it'll do is just ask you for some information there, and then if you click get plugin, it'll actually send you a download link to get the plugin itself. So once you've got that downloaded, what we're going to do is we're going to go over into Unity now, and we're going to import this new package that we just downloaded. So I saved it on my desktop. Just try to remember where you downloaded it as well. And then you know, if this was a scene or anything, or this would be actually our project right now, I just kind of have a blank project here. But you would go into Assets. You're going to go to Import Package, go to Custom Package, and then just scroll to wherever you've saved the downloaded package from Prime31. Like I said, I have mine on my desktop. I'm just going to click Open, and it's going to bring up the familiar Import Package window. We'll just click Import because we want all of it there. And there you go. That's basically done all the importing for the plugin itself. So the next step to get this demo up and going is we're going to go to Plugins. We're just going to open that up. Once you open up the plugins, you'll go down to Metro Azure, and you'll see that there's a test scene. So we're going to go ahead and open up this scene because this is basically going to show us a quick little demo of everything connecting. So once you have this opened up, you'll notice that now I have a little UI element, and this is just for displaying some of the content once we run the project. So to connect this all, what we're going to do is we're going to need to change a setting inside of the script right here, which is called Metro Azure Demo UI. So if I double click that, it's going to go ahead and open it up in Visual Studio for me. And that's because I have Unity tools for Visual Studio installed. If you haven't seen that, I do have a quick guide, I believe, on that as well. If not, you can go to unityvs.com and download the package. So once this opens up, so there we go. Just, once it opens up there, what we need to change here is our Azure Connect. So we're going to change where it points to. This will be the URL that we created, and then our special key. So if you remember, if we go back to our Azure portal, when I said underneath of, if you go to Windows and then you click on connecting an existing Windows or Windows Phone app, you'll notice that our content that we need is right there. So I'm just going to select this and copy it over like so, and I'll just paste it. There we go. So now it's pointing to my URL. And then I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to copy my secret key. And I'm going to replace this key with mine. And I'll save this. And now what I could do is I can go back into Unity, and all that stuff is now set up. So the next step to get this demo up and going is we can actually build out our project and then compile it inside of Visual Studio and run a little debug test on our device. So we'll go up to here and we'll go to Build Settings, and we will select Windows Store, and then I'm going to select 8.1, and we'll just make sure to switch platforms there. We don't have any scenes, so I guess we should add our current scene. There we go. And so the next thing that we need to do just before we build this out is go to our player settings. And if we scroll down here just underneath of miscellaneous, you'll see unprocessed plugins. We're going to click the drop down there, change the size to 1, and when we do that you'll see that it comes up with an element 0. And what we're going to do is we're going to put in P31, so capitalize that, P31, which is prime 31, Metro, Azure, .dll, and that's just going to add our plugin dynamic link library to the unprocessed plugins list, and that's just to help Unity because there's some funky stuff that goes on in the back end if you don't do that. So that's the only thing that you really need to watch out for before you build. And then of course we'll just come back over here, we'll click build. It's going to ask me for a folder. I'll just create a new one here really quick, call it build, and I'll select the folder, and this is going to go ahead and just build out the game pretty quick. And there's not too much to it, so it won't take too long. Okay, so once it's finished, it's going to pop open with the window here. We'll just go into build and actually open up the solution. Okay, so before we actually test this out on our device, the first thing we need to do is go over to package.appxmanifest. Just double click that. And what we're going to do here is we're going to add a capability. So if we click the capabilities tab, and we're just going to add the ability to be an internet client. And this just allows us, our application, to connect to the internet and lets our package and lets the store and everything know that we need internet access. So there we go. Once that's done, up here at the top we're just going to click the drop down and configuration, just make it x86. If you don't have this open, you can click the debug drop down and then go into configuration manager and just change it to x86. And then once you have that done, we can go ahead and actually test this out. So I'm here and click run, and it'll go ahead and build. Before I do that, one thing to note: if you get an error about it missing an SDK, and you haven't built for Azure before or installed any of the SDKs, you're going to need the Mobile Services SDK for Windows Phone and Windows 8. So I'll make sure that there's a link in the notes as well. But you'll need to install that before this will work. So if you see that error, that's just what you need to look out for. But I'll go up here and I'll click run, and it will go ahead and launch the game. And up here at the top, you'll notice I have some buttons. The first one connects Azure service. You have to do this in order to have the other ones work. So I'll go ahead and connect, and then I'll do an insert incomplete item, and then I'll insert a couple of completed items. So I know it doesn't show any output here, but what's happening in the back end is it's actually storing and uploading data to Azure Mobile Services in our database. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that actually now. If we close this out and we go back to our portal, and up here we go to data, you'll notice here in our table, our to-do item table, we will now have some actual entries. And of course we have the false one, or the uncompleted one that was the first one we installed, and then the other two, and as you can see there's the timestamps they'll let you know when we did that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. There's our data, stored up in Azure. Of course, you're going to want to modify this to be whatever you want. High score tables, world data, player data, whatever it might be. You can basically store this up. So dig a little bit deeper, play around with it. But hopefully that gave you a little insight onto to how quickly you can get this up and working, and hopefully you'll use it in your next project. So thank you very much, and happy coding.